Welcome to the Crooked Stripes Podcast, where your hosts discuss various aspects of lawn care, landscaping, and snow removal. Let these two friendly Canucks help you cultivate a different outlook on the green industry. And with that, here are your hosts, Brendan Brubaker and Martin Hodder.
All right, guys, we're back for another episode of the Crooked Stripes. Martin, man, how's it going today?
Oh, not too bad. Snow's finally starting to melt. Hopefully get some spring weather here soon, and maybe get back to work within the next few weeks, but we'll
hopefully
see.
Hopefully you're mowing by July, right?
Well, that'd be ideal, but we'll see. If it ever melts, there's still like a foot and a half of snow kicking around, so we'll see. A little bit left.
See where she goes. Cool, guys. We got a really special guest on today. Martin and I have both been following this guy since we probably could hop on YouTube and watch his videos. Jason's out in Washington. I have Jason Ambro on here. Jason, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you were definitely one of these guys we wanted on right away. You know, Martin and I, ever since I started my business and started kind of getting into the social media thing, you were definitely a guy that, you know, I was always following and keeping up with your YouTube videos, amazing editing skills and just great work you're doing out there in Washington. So glad we could have you on here. And yeah, so it's great.
No, I appreciate it. I think I told you the last time I did a podcast was probably over 6 years ago with Julio from the Lawn Care Success. So I haven't done a podcast ever since. So
nice. Yeah. Martin and I both hopped on Julio's not even too long ago. So that's funny. We've all been on it. Yeah. Nice. Well, Jason, why don't you just kind of touch what attracted you to the industry? And, you know, you've built a pretty successful business over there. I don't know, give the listeners just a little background into your story. That'd be great.
Yeah. So I never had intentions of starting a lawn care company. It wasn't until I was working on a job. It was a lavender field here in my local town. And one of my best friends, he had the intentions and idea of starting a landscaping company. It was supposed to be called Wow Landscaping. That's what he had. He had a whole business plan and everything started up. And him and I started working outside on the farm where we maintained the property. And he just thought, hey, dude, we should go into business together. Luckily, it was a smart idea that we started our own things. About 6 months after starting our companies, he had moved away, so I absorbed his company and his clients and just kind of grew it from there. So we kind of started off in basically like maintaining rental properties. There was a rental company that would call us out when a tenant would leave, and so we had to get the property up and cleaned up in order to get new tenants in there. So it was not really what I wanted to do. It's, you know, wear and tear on equipment. I wanted to do more higher end stuff. And it wasn't until a few years later, I think a couple years after I started my business officially in 2011, is when I got my first condo, and I still have that same exact condo. So we've been maintaining them for, well over 11, 12 years. So at the time we were kind of doing everything, you know, starting off, we take on it whatever we can. So we were just doing residential, biweekly, anything we can take on. And once we had an established company, we started going strictly towards commercial, condo, and residential weekly mowings. And once that got to a point where we were so booked up, I started really liking maintaining condos. I just thought there was way more profit in it, a lot less headache. And I can kind of go further into that a little later. So about 6 years ago, we dropped the landscaping install maintenance. I just really wasn't interested. That's why we were originally called Ambro's Landscaping, because we wanted to go into landscaping and design and install. And in my local town, it's just so small. It's just hard to find guys that are trained and well, you know, have the knowledge to kind of do this kind of trade work. So we were more known for property maintenance. So that's why we 6 years ago decided to go strictly 100% condo association. So that's all we maintain. And that's kind of where we're at now.
Nice. That's like, you're pretty much like, I remember when I first started, I started in 2011 as well. And I remember like you were the first person I seen on like YouTube. There was another guy, Zach Sweets, I think. It was you and him were like the two guys putting out stuff, and just kind of always followed along since then. It's been crazy to kind of watch it grow.
Yeah. When so it's funny, my wife is the one that came to me with the idea of starting a YouTube channel. And so she came to me saying, hey, YouTube is now paying people to create YouTube videos. You should do that. And at the time, I had no interest in camera equipment, editing. Like, I did it every once in a while for fun. I used to be a skateboarder, so I used to try to edit on, gosh, what was that cheap uh, editing software from
Oh,
Windows Movie Maker?
Yeah,
That's what it was.
nice.
And
Classic.
yep. So I
Nice.
did that, and I had no idea what the heck I was doing. So my wife came to me saying, hey, you can make money from this. This would be cool. And I'm like, well, I'm just starting our business. I'm trying to grow that. I don't have time for this. So we went outside and recorded a couple videos, which is her on the Hustler. And she started, and then I went did another recording that it's the horrible video of moss out, how to use moss out in your lawn. And of course, I wasn't happy with it. So I said, don't post it. Well, she posted it without me knowing. And so I got a couple of those. So the first two videos up, she actually posted without me knowing. And then the video that really kind of started it was I used to have the Toro Turfmaster, the 30-inch. And at the time, they used to have those problems with the transmission where they weren't, if you went up a hillside, they didn't work properly. And so the trick was that you just had to tighten up the cable. And I found a quick little zip tie clip that kind of, when you would pull back on the handle, it would pull a little bit more of the cable out, so it would go uphill. So I thought this would be a helpful video to kind of post because that's the kind of content I wanted to create. But the video that really set it off was my enclosed trailer setup. That one really took off. I was in the Green Industry magazine. And then every year I post it. That's how I got in connection with Equipment Defender racks, and just kind of took off from there and started really enjoying creating content.
That was that little 6x12, wasn't it? I think the 6x12 black enclosed trailer. I remember,
That one came
I
afterwards.
totally remember
trailer
it.
now. Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
That wasn't the first one.
No, the first one I have is my original trailer, the 8.5x16, the one with my big logo on it. So that was my first official trailer. And then eventually I bought the 6x12 enclosed, and that was my residential trailer. And then I think that was like 2016 is when I bought that, or 2017. And I did the trailer setup. But yeah, the 8.5x16 was the original one, which was pretty cool.
Okay. See, it's funny how those things like stick out. Like that's 10 years ago. And I like remember the whole of it, like a bunch of your videos.
I've watched,
and, like,
I definitely watched.
If you like scroll through the YouTube, it's like your account. If you go all the way back, it's like this video watched, this video. It's it's wild, and that's kind of like what got me to do the whole social media thing. So you're definitely one of the OGs in that for sure.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I can thank my wife for that. Yeah, I got in at the right time, and at the time there was just a very few kind of people that were doing it. And I remember the biggest one was, Geek to Freak. He was basically like, I think at the time, his 40,000 subscribers was equivalent to like 500,000 or 1 million in the lawn care. It was just big. So I remember he was, there was a lot of people that watched his stuff. And of course, I don't think I ever got to personally meet him. But yeah, so that's back when there was just a handful of people. No one knew what was going on. It's funny now because seeing where we are now versus then, like when you get sponsored by certain companies, everyone's just kind of used to it. But back then, we used to get called sellouts. Like if a company wanted to send me some racks, well, it was just a completely different ballgame back then. And now kind of everybody's used to sponsored content, working with big companies. And yeah, it's so weird seeing how it used to be versus where it is now. So
yeah, I can only imagine how foreign that would seem, like even up here with us, like there's not a lot of big time creators, right? So like, Martin and I work with a few businesses, and people are just amazed that, we're getting some stuff from them and we're promoting some sponsored content. It's just came so far, right? So I can just imagine when you started.
Yeah. Oh, it's weird. There's still people that really don't understand, with the building projects we have going on. So my wife has, she does YouTube as well. Her channel is way bigger than mine. She's been more consistent over the years. So she's got, I think, close to 160,000 subs on hers. And so she, of course, works with a lot of these companies that are sending her products for our building projects, the tiny home and the party barn, and inside our home when we do DIY projects. So when these contractors that if there's something I can't do, that we hire, they come over and they're like, so what do you guys do? And I tried to explain to them, and sometimes they get it, and sometimes they're just like, how How do you make
Yeah.
money from that? And it's so weird. But yeah, it's like I said, it's gotten a lot better. That's good. So
Yeah, it's definitely getting better, but it's still, I know, still a funny thing to wrap your head around, right?
oh, for sure. When I yeah, when I originally started YouTube, it was for clearly creating content that helps other people out, which is why the first video, the trailer setup, was showing guys, hey, this is how I organize my trailer. I hate things on the floor because not only do you step over it, you break it, things get lost. I just don't like it. I like being cleaned up and organized, which is why I'm finally getting my shop done, as you guys can see behind me. This has been in the progress for about five years of wanting to, hey, I want to get this thing insulated. I want to get it drywalled. I want to finally get it high end finished with cabinets where my
Hmm.
guys can walk in and they know exactly where every tool is. I like to do that. And crap, forgot where I was going from there. Something
Oh
in
no.
regards to social media, but
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned you were going to do a little recording studio in there, didn't you?
yes, yeah, I will be doing that. So I've been trying to figure out what is going to make it look good as a recording studio. I don't know how much recording I'm going to do in here. It's going to be mostly for my A roll from when I'm kind of talking and reviewing products.
Yep.
But like I said before, if you look at my past videos, I don't show a lot of behind the scenes, but I used to have all my crap exposed, wood shelving, you got the studs, the studded walls, and then you got all my tools just kind of scattered everywhere. Um, and so what I used to do is just throw up like backdrops. I used to get weed fabric and just hang it from my ceilings, like this big 12 by 10 piece of sheet or even larger. And I would drop that in the background, or I would do a haze with certain lighting. So I would try to make it look as nice as possible where you don't see all that stuff, or I would have to move a bunch of stuff around. It just became too much. Trying to
Yeah.
utilize this as a shop where we can pull the mowers in and do the maintenance for the lawn care, but also record. It gets kind of difficult. All the camera equipment gets dusted, get dust all over it, grass clippings, whatever. So I didn't like that. So the way that's going to be set up is going to be a little bit more efficient. So
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. So how many guys do you have working for you, Jason?
I got two full-time guys right now.
Okay. That's a nice size. And do you get
Yeah,
them on doing some videos too? Or how has that
I
been?
had, so yeah, it's been fun. So I just hired these guys earlier this year. So last year was a really tough year. I was actually looking at kind of downsizing to a certain degree with lawn care because I wanted to focus more on social media. It's something I really enjoy doing, but every time I focus on that, I get asked to take on another large condo, and I'm like, oh man, I can't pass that up. It's fun. So I just hired these guys this year. So I always have to ask them, hey, I have to let them know what I do. I do social media. So I'm going to be recording you time to time using the equipment because I got to get content up. Are you guys okay with that? Really, I've only had one person in my life that's ever been like completely anti social media. So a lot of these guys, they're okay with being recorded because I told them I'm not going to shove a camera in your face and tell you to talk. It's just
Hmm.
mostly when you're working, so you don't even know I'm there. When we were building the party barn here, it was actually pretty funny. So I had a drone up in the sky, and the contractor that I hired, which is a friend of mine, one of his employees, had come up to me and said, "Hey, I can't be on your camera. I don't want to be in your videos." And I told him, I said, "That's perfectly fine. You just can't be on the job site because this is how I make a living, and this is for my wife's channel. So if you're not comfortable,
Okay.
I completely agree with that, but you just can't be here because that's what we have to
Yeah.
do." So, but I mean, they seem to be okay with it. I've had employees in the past that they've been the main feature of my videos because I'm typically behind the camera. So a lot of people kind of understand it, especially the young generation. A couple of the older guys, they don't mind it either. Like I said, I'm not shoving a camera right in their face and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" It's mostly, "Hey, while you're using the mower, I'm just going to get a couple shots of you." So
Did you ever have
Nice.
any issues with the customers? Like where you're on like HOAs and condo associate with customers like filming it?
I've had some pretty fun interactions. Yes, usually they're more curious what the heck I'm doing. So the setup now, when I post
Right.
stuff on my Instagram, I use a monopod and I just use my cell phone because I can kind of hide it behind a bush or a tree and shove it in a corner and you don't see it. But before, I used to bring this big tripod or I used to have my camera on a gimbal and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, a lot of them would they would be more curious. There's only one lady that I can
Mhm.
remember. where I was on a job site and I was walking to a section of the property, and she was on public road. She was just walking past one of my clients' properties. And I'm walking behind her. She's walking in front of me. She kept, looking back at me. And so she comes up and she says, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I do social media. I'm just recording our guys." She's like, "Oh, well, you need my permission in order to be in your video, and I don't consent to that." I'm like, "Well, I'm not even recording you. I'm just literally walking to my, over around the corner to go record. So you're not going to be in the video." And then she kind of kept going on, "Oh, well, you have to get my permission, a written permission." And I'm like, "Lady, no one wants to see you in my video, so you can just keep walking." So like, that's really the only time I've dealt with someone like that. But a good majority of the time, I tend to try to hide the equipment. I don't show my clients street addresses, their numbers. I don't ever make that stuff public. And in certain videos, I'll try to blur out the street addresses. I remember, of course, being in the social media game for quite a few years back when Geek to Freak was into it. And I remember him the day that he left, he made a video about him quitting the lawn care stuff. And I think he was going to focus more on his personal YouTube channel. But he had made a comment and video about how, like, don't show street addresses or your clients' addresses, because apparently people were calling his clients, either showing up to his property or they were calling his clients, telling them and harassing them. And so he lost quite a few accounts from that, from what I understood. So that's why I'm always cautious about making sure you don't see street addresses or anything with my clients. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always a weird little
it's fun.
situation, right? And I think it's the curious thing more than anything, because like out where I'm at, there is no one that does any sort of social media. So I if I set up a tripod, I get like people are like stopping their car and looking at me and being like, "What the hell is this guy doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Are
like,
you
just, like,
leveling the
filming-
ground?
Yeah, filming like someone digging a hole, and they're just like, "The hell is it?" But like, it was weird at first when I first started doing it. I was just like, not self-conscious of it, but it was just kind of like, it was strange, right? To like pull it out and film it. And 3 years ago, I wouldn't be caught dead doing this sort of stuff. But then you just kind of get used to it.
Correct.
And it's good. It's good revenue for our business. We do that. And like even advertising and stuff, like that's pretty much the only spot we really advertise is through our social media. So you just kind of get over that initial weirdness of it. And now we set it up everywhere.
Yep.
And we're not too
See,
blunt.
for me,
We don't hide it in bushes. We just plop around the yard.
Yep.
See, I used to hate vlogging. So in a lot of my videos, what you'll see is that if you see me holding the camera and I'm kind of looking around because I'm walking, because since I maintain condos, you constantly have people walking around. So I'll be talking, and whenever you kind of see me looking around and I start walking a different direction, it's because I see someone and I'm trying to walk away from them so they don't come and disturb me.
Right.
And I have so much footage of me talking and someone pops up and I'm like, "Oh, hi," and then I hide the camera. And then I'll wait for them to pass. So that's kind of one reason why is, like I said, I try to hide me doing it. Not that I'm scared, but just so I don't have to deal with the people, because then I get a million questions of, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that? What are you recording?" It's just too much. So so I don't like vlogging in front of people. It's awkward. I only do it in front of my buddies, and even with that, I just joke about it and have fun. So.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's good. Nice. What made you move the switch to just straight condos?
Oh my gosh. I found it was easier. So the setup I have is an 8.5 by 16 enclosed trailer. I used to have I used to call it Big Red, my old 97 Ford F450. Now I have my crew cab Isuzu. So my setup's over 40 something feet long. And I found that the residentials were just too difficult with the big setup to do. The reason why I really like condos, and it just depends on what kind of condo you go after. So the condos that we maintain, where I live, is a retirement community, and so the board of the directors are homeowners that live in the condo. So it's not like a commercial, or there's no corporate involved in it at all. So what's nice is that I can show up to this one account and I'm there all day, because some of them, I think my smallest condo's got about 6 duplexes in it, or condos. And my largest one is like 20 or 30 something. I forgot exactly how many houses. So basically we're mowing equivalent to 30 something yards, and I get to show up, park there all day, and then drive home. There's no loading, unloading throughout the whole day, trying to get to all these residential accounts. So it's less wear and tear on my equipment, because we literally drive. So my furthest account from my house is probably 3-4 miles away. So everything's within a 4 mile radius of my property. So we literally drive 2-3 miles down the road. We park, we're there all day, and we work there. And then of course we load up and go home. So it was less wear and tear on my equipment. At the end of the month, it was one client I have to invoice. It's not 32 individual people. It's one person I talk to, sometimes two. Usually it's the landscaping chairman and the president. So I'm not talking to 32 individual people. So it's a lot less headache for me. And usually if a homeowner that lives there has an issue, they'll just come out and say, hey, can you guys trim this or do this differently? And we get it taken care of. So like we only have 5 condos, but equivalent to those 5 condos is over 150, 170 something yards. And so there's a lot more profit, a lot less overhead involved because, like I said, I'm not driving my guys, or I'm not paying for my guys to drive around all over the place. So that's why I do it. And then my tax guy loves me because at the end of the month or end of the year when we do our tax stuff, I just have to deal with 5 accounts. I don't have to deal with 150, 175 people. So that's why I went towards condos.
Nice. That sounds like a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, and you're still doing all that weekly too, are you? Like, is it mostly weekly
everything,
cutting?
It is. So, so all my accounts are year contracts. So weekly mowing starts in April and it ends in October. And then the months outside of that are bi-weekly or as needed. But we do all of the mowing, the weed whacking, hedge trimmings, weed control, pruning, and then of course any side projects such as mulch install or bark, tree removal, irrigation repairs. That's all outside the contract. So
Nice. Okay.
So can you work all year round? Like you don't, I know I've seen a few videos of you doing a bit of snow, but you don't get a lot of snow out there, do you?
No, we've been getting more snow recently, and the past 2-3 years have been weird. So this last winter, we got down to single digits, which I've lived here for 20 years. That has never happened. So we got down to like 7-8 degrees at night, and I lived in Alaska, so I know what cold is. I lived there for 12 and a half years.
Ooh.
But where I live, before we used to get like 2-3 inches of snow overnight, and it would be melted by a day or two. And so what's been happening for the past at least 2-3 years is we've been getting 3 to 5 inches, and then it's been getting down below freezing temperatures. So then it's sticking around for 3 to 5 days. So we do offer snow removal services just only at our condos. And before we used to do streets and driveways. And the problem with the driveways is that my tractor is just too big. And so the problem was that we were kind of cracking a lot of the concrete because of the blades and stuff. So I only snowplow the street because there's a lot more profit, kind of similar to condos versus residential. I'm just busting in there really quickly. For instance, this last snow removal, I plowed one of my clients' properties and it took 45 minutes and we charged like $750 for that. And it was a quick in and out, and then we did other condos within the area. So yeah, we don't get as much as probably what you guys
That's a good
get.
hourly rate. Yeah,
really good.
We get a lot out here. We're like, I think in February it was like a 2-week span. We got like 105 inches. So
oh my gosh,
we get a whack. Yeah, we get a whack load out here. So that's what I was curious. Like if you don't get work like snow, are you able to work? Like, are you still doing work for those same customers? Like your condo associations? Like, is there cleanups and stuff?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So 2 of our condos is in a very heavily tree area, and so we get a ton of pine cones, pine needle droppings. Every time a storm goes through, just more and more debris comes, and so a lot of my Instagram reels, you'll see us kind of blowing off the streets because you just get so much debris, and so yeah, they keep us busy in the wintertime. So since all my accounts are under contract, we're getting paid the same throughout the whole entire year. So usually we go about 1, maybe 2 months where there's really no work. It's mostly just showing up every 2 weeks, blowing off the street. Might be some pruning here, some bed cleanups, maintaining any kind of weed stuff, but it usually dies down. So January is like the dead month. There's usually nothing to do. And then February, it just depends. Like for instance, we should have mowed the first week of February. That's how fast our grass is already taken off. So we've already mowed all of our accounts once. We're mowing again this week, and then we start a weekly in April, but we'll probably have to start even sooner. So
Nice.
That blows
That's
my mind. Being able to start mowing in like February, like when Brandon was saying earlier,
Yeah.
like July or whatever. Like we usually start like our first week is usually like the middle to end of May.
Gotcha.
Like that's when we're getting our first week of cut in. So we're
That's
way
like
out. I mean,
midsummer
we're
for
also on
us.
like the complete opposite side. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
yeah, but we're also
That is
like the complete
weird.
opposite side too. Like,
Yeah, you
We-
guys are so far apart,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I'm
Washington to
literally
Cape Breton
almost as
Island. My
far
goodness.
west because so I'm 2 hours west of Seattle, so I'm out on the peninsula. So the reason
Oh,
why, so we don't have harsh summers and harsh
even
winters.
further.
Yeah. So where I live, we don't have harsh summers and harsh winters because we have what they call the rain shadow effect. So of course we have the Olympic Mountains, which I can see from my house right now. So what happens is that it's so weird when you watch the radar of like when rain's coming in. If it's coming from the southwest, you'll see these clouds coming in, and then it just goes right around us. So pilots call my city, so the city is called Squim. They call our town the blue hole because every time they fly over Squim, it's always clear and blue, but everywhere around us, all the clouds and it's raining. So they call us the blue hole, and they always know when they're flying over Squim. So like right now, I could take you guys outside and it's just blue right above my house, but everywhere else is just completely surrounded by clouds. So that's one reason why
Wow.
we don't get such harsh winters
crazy.
because everything dumps in the mountains
Cool.
before it reaches us, and it just kind of goes around us. So we're
Right.
pretty well protected.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
that's
pretty
definitely a
strange,
good
but it's
spot
pretty
to have
fun
a
too.
landscape spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So do you
yeah,
get
we
much
don't
rain
get that much
throughout
rain.
No, that was my thing. Like whether you're
No.
going to get a lot of rain with that, but I guess if it goes right around you, you probably don't miss too many
Yeah.
days for rain days.
Yeah, so like have you ever heard of the town Forks? Remember the movie Twilight?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Following.
so that's 2 hours west of us. So Forks, yeah, that's where Twilight takes place. So they get dumped
Okay.
on because they're on the other side of the mountain. So they get dumped on from the ocean, but by the time it reaches us, we get nothing. So there's a plant called lavender, and so Sequim is the lavender capital of the United States because it does so well here because we don't get much rain and we get good sun. But we also don't get harsh summers and harsh winters. Like the hottest we got last year, which was a record for me in the 20 years I lived here, I think it got up to 91, 92 degrees. Typically, our hot summers consist of like 5, 6 days of 80-degree weather, but usually it's around the mid to high 70s is our kind of summer weather, I guess you could say.
Okay. That's nice. Not too
Yeah.
hot, not too cold either. That's beauty.
Yeah, it's
Huh.
it's
Cool.
yeah, kind of like the Goldilocks zone kind of thing. It's just perfect.
Yeah,
So,
right. Nice. And for mowers, are you all walker mowers? I know I've watched all your videos, but I know you have a beauty setup of walkers. Do you want to get into that a little bit?
oh, let's do it. Yeah. So I own, let's see, 2, 3, 4. I own 4 walkers. Oh, I got to double check.
Sea hotter?
I think so. I own 4 walkers, and I only have one zero turn, which is my Hustler X1.
Okay. Nice. Oh, that's awesome. 4 walkers. Martin, I took him on a walker his first time at the expo in October, and he's never been on a
Yeah.
walker mower before, and he's thought it was the weirdest thing ever because I love him.
Yep.
It was.
Yeah.
I was not a fan. It tripped
Oh,
me
really?
out trying to like drive. Oh, I never even seen one. Like we don't have the closest dealer to me is like probably 10, 11 hours away. Like they
Gotcha.
don't exist out here. That was the first time I seen one. I didn't even want to do it. And Brandon's like, no, get on it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to run this thing through one of those hay bales trying to draw. I couldn't, it just,
Yeah.
I'm so used to using zero turns, like the lap
Yep.
bar or whatever. And you hop on there and I'm trying to like steer with 2 feet. I'm like, this is nonsense. And Brandon there taking videos of me just going probably as
Yeah.
slow as the mower can go. I'm like, you
Yeah.
bastard.
Yeah.
But
That
it was
good.
something. But
You did it.
Yeah.
I did.
They take if you're used to a zero turn, you're used to pushing forward on the levers. So it's fun. Like I'm sitting on my walker right now because I don't have any chairs in here. And but yeah, so
Unreal.
people are so used to pushing on the levers. And so when I'm training my guys, it's the funniest thing because I have to tell them that no, your forward's over here, and then this is you pull back to the left, right. But I constantly see them pushing forward, and last year I had one guy that worked for me. He was 60 years old, and it took him over 3 weeks to somewhat get comfortable on the walker mower. He struggled with the controls. And so what I have to do is I have to do a 2-cut perimeter around the property so they don't hit the houses, and then say, okay, just mow everything in there. But oh gosh, he would be so slow. And yeah, so walkers, once you get used to them, holy crap, do they move. I mean, being able to, have you seen the walker courses when they have those little obstacle courses?
Yeah, I would love to attend.
Okay. Yeah, they're pretty fun. I've done it a couple times, and yeah, they're pretty fun compared to, you just have such good visual. It's kind of similar to a stand-on mower where you kind of have a good visual all around you. It's the same thing with the walker with the deck. I love the fact that when you come up to an object, it doesn't matter if you go left or right because you don't have that side discharge chute on the right side. And there's a lot of reasons why I went over to walker. I started off with, my first ever commercial prosumer mower was the Hustler Fast Track, which was a great mower. I bought the Hustler X1, but the problems that I had with them was, like I said, I was limited. So in my condos, we either bag or we mulch. We can't side discharge because since I maintain the flower beds, all that grass going into the flower beds, now I have to maintain the weeds in the grass growing in there. And of course, I would get complaints because all of our clients are elderly, and so they're going to complain about that. So you can either bag or you can mulch. And the one reason why I like the walkers is, like I said, the mulching decks do really well. But when we come up to objects, it doesn't matter which side of the object you go around because everything's collected on the inside or mulched underneath. Where my Hustlers, we had the bagging system, so adding a blower to the side would add anywhere from 5 to 7 inches, and it was just too much. So yeah, that's why I always kind of wanted a walker, but they were so expensive, as you guys probably know. And but for me, they're worth it. We sharpen our blades every single morning, so the flip up deck makes it so much easier. Since we're mulching, and when it does get wet around here, when the deck gets clogged up underneath and we're just not getting that good cut quality, I just tell my guys, wherever you're mowing, just flip up the deck and clean underneath it, and then whatever that grass is, you just throw it into the back chute or the back catcher. So here, like I said, I'm on my walker, so we have the little tray in the back right here.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so,
nice.
So whenever I tell my guys, hey, clean underneath the deck, and then just throw it. So I gotta messed up my tripod. But yeah, here's your walker controllers. So like I said, I'm so used to guys, they're so used to pushing forward. And I keep telling them, keep doing that, you're not gonna go anywhere. So
that was me.
That was Martin pushing forward.
Guilty as charged.
It's fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. Oh yeah.
But
nice. And are you on your B27i? Is that what you're sitting on?
This is the B27i, yeah. So I got a B27i, a B23i, a T25i, and a T27i, which is the newest one I got.
Nice.
So the T's are the bagging systems, and then the B's are the mulchers. Yeah.
Beauty. Yeah. Okay. And how big's your deck on the one you're sitting on right now?
52.
50.
I don't go any bigger than that, and I won't go anything smaller than a 48. So that's the 48 is the good sweet spot, but the 52 just gave us a little bit of extra room to work with to kind of finish off the large condos a little bit faster.
And the mulching deck, how good? I know I've seen your reels on the mulching deck, but how does the mulching deck compare to the collection deck?
It all depends on the grass, how thick the grass is, if it's dry or not. If it's midsummer, the mulching decks do great. The problem with them is that if you cut anything above 3 and probably a quarter inch, they don't do that well. So the higher they go, the cut quality tends to go down. Where of course the collective deck, it doesn't matter what height you're at, it does very well because it's sucking that up. So we tend to not go any more than 3 inches is kind of the goal, because it just maintains a better cut quality. But other than that, they're great decks. Let's see if I can move my camera back to where it was.
Oh yeah, right, we'll get Martin on the walker mower. We'll get Martin on the walker mower.
I don't know. You can try him, but maybe this summer if I come visit you, we'll.
There we go. Now we'll get you on on a collector, and you'll be loving it.
Now, when you bag that grass,
go ahead.
So when you bag that grass, what do you do? Because that's what, like, we have a few customers that ask about bagging. We do pretty much all side discharge. We do have a power bagger on one of our zero turns, but the biggest issue we always had was like what to do with it, like, and the time it takes to get rid of it and stuff. Do you have a spot at your like property to dump it, or are you taking it to like somewhere to get rid of it, or how do you deal with all your grass?
Yeah, so there's two places that we go to. So there's a place in town. It's probably about a 10-minute drive from me. Yeah, about 10 minutes. And you can dump grass or anything weed related for free. So you can dump all that. And the reason why is because he turns around and mulches it all up, and then he turns around and sells it with topsoil. So if it's straight grass, that's where we go. But if it's mixed in with branches and stuff like that, he won't take it. So we go to another place that's about 5 miles down the road from me, and we can dump whatever we want there. So that's what we do. The only time we ever really bag is if the grass is really long. So we got behind surprisingly this year on mowing because the grass had really taken off. In some areas, it was already 5-6 inches tall. So I wound up bagging everything just because the mulching deck was just clumping up everywhere. It looked like absolute crap. So we bagged it all. And so, yeah, so we just take it to my local place. So the only time we ever really bag is if it's really long or if it's pretty well infected with weeds where we don't want to prevent, or we're trying to prevent it from spreading the seed. So we'll bag it until the weeds are kind of maintained and under control, and then we go back to mulching.
Nice.
So you're not bagging every week then. It's just kind of when it gets overgrown or if you miss a week. It's not like one property wants you to bag. Okay, gotcha. That's kind of where I was getting at it. If you had to bag every week, what you were doing with it. So
so a lot of the condos that we took over, what happened was the previous guy, he used to mulch everything. And when he did, he would leave the clumps everywhere. So when I did take the condos on, they told us everything needs to be bagged because we can't stand those clumps. Well, what we found out was that what we started doing was we would mulch the backyards and then bag the front, mostly because, they treat their dogs like kids. And so their dogs were tracking in all the grass and stuff like that. But we figured out a better system for being able to mulch the whole entire property. So what they were more concerned about was the clumps. So while we're mowing, if we see a clump, we can just reach over. And this is the one thing that's really great about walkers is that you're able to reach left and right because it's all open, as it's probably brand new, so if we do see clumps, we just pick them up and we throw them back in the tray. Or if it's really bad over the property, what we'll do is we'll go over it with backpack blowers and we'll kind of disperse any clump so that way you don't see that. So so the only time we ever really mow is springtime and usually in the fall, mostly for fall cleanup or for leaf cleanup. The other time we will use it is that when we do hedge trimming, we'll hedge trim everything, we'll rake up all the big stuff. And then all the small little clippings that we can't get to, we'll kind of blow it into the grass and then we'll suck it out with the bagging mower.
Nice.
So we don't do it all the time. We try to focus more on mulching because not only is it healthier for the lawn, it also saves a ton of time and it looks really good. So
nice. And with your fall cleanup, you have a billy goat loader too, I believe, don't you? A leaf loader.
Finally got one. Yep. I was gonna go buy an 18 or 29 horsepower. And luckily a buddy in my local town, he had a billy goat with, I think it's 11 horsepower Honda. And I'm a huge Honda engines fan. So he sold that thing to me for, I think $1,000. Not bad at all. And it's in great condition.
Nice.
And cause he didn't really use it that much. He's got a bigger crew. He's got 12, 13 guys working for him. So he's just able to have them all go and rake up and then throw it in the truck. And the accounts that I maintain, we just get so much debris. So I think not last year, but the year before I bought one and holy crap, did that save a lot of time. So the mixture of that and then the high dump for my walker mower has saved a ton of time.
Nice.
And you're loading that through, I think I seen a video where you're loading it, shooting it in through the side, correct? Like with the billy goat? Because that's one thing I really like about your cab over truck with that side door that opens on it. That's wicked.
Yes.
That's a hell of a feature for it because I don't know, those trucks. I think that'll be my next one, I think. A
that's
little cab over with a dump. It's so versatile.
Yeah, it was one of those tools that I just want to buy so badly, but they're so expensive if you want a nice one. And so Big Red, my old F450, I bought that thing for $3,900. And it had 200,000 miles on it, the 7.3 turbo dump bed. I got it for a steal deal back in the day. And I put probably close to $15,000 into it over the years. New tires, windshield, walls, clearly stuff, injectors, everything. It's a truck. It did its part, but last year one of the cylinders died. So we think that one of the piston heads blew up or something like that. So my mechanic called me and was like, "Hey, it's going to cost you $16,000 to rebuild this thing." And I'm like, "Well, I don't love this truck for $16,000 because for one, but the funny part was there was no parking brake on it. So that year truck, the parking brake clamped around the dry shaft, and apparently they don't make the brake pads for those anymore. So for 10 years, I had no parking brake on that thing. So we would have to place everything in gear, and we would, if it was parked on a hillside, I would have to stand outside and see if it started kind of moving slowly down, and then we would have to put stoppers behind the wheel. So it sucked. It was horrible. And like when I went to go dump, if I left it parked, I would have to turn it off and put it in gear, and it was annoying. So I said, nope, time to get rid of that thing. So I was on the hunt for a Isuzu truck for about 3 months last year. And in Washington, all the ones that were for sale were all crap. So all the good ones seemed to be down in Portland. And this one single cab Isuzu came up for sale, and it was perfect for what I needed. Both the sidewalls folded down. It was a single cab, so it lifted up. It was everything I wanted. So I flew down to Medford, Oregon to go take a look at it, and showed up there. The guy told me that, oh yeah, I'm going to get all these things replaced on it. So when you show up, so I flew down to Medford. He picked me up, and the first thing was he told me he was going to take the logos off the truck, which he didn't. And the next thing I noticed that like 2 wheels were about ready to explode. There was no tread on them. And I'm like, dude, I got an 8-hour drive back. I can't deal with that. So the other thing is that he claimed that he couldn't find the title. So the day before I flew down, he says, oh, I already talked to the DMV. And they said that since you're from out of state, you don't need the title. Well, it wasn't until we got down there that we needed a title. So it was one thing after another. So I was like, dude, I'm just going to cut my losses. And so I flew back that night. I think 2 days later is when I found the Isuzu I have now down in Portland. Drove down there. My buddy lived in Portland. So went and bought the truck, and he helped me drive it back. And it's been a great truck ever since. So.
And it's a 4-door too, right?
It
Like
is, yeah.
Nice.
It is a crew cab. I wanted a single cab because the singles, they lift up. The crew cab does too, but you need a hydraulic lift or something to lift it up. So I wanted something that was easier to work on the engine for. So it doesn't have like a spring assist like the single cabs do. You have to unbolt 2 bolts in the back apparently, and then use like a car hoist to lift it up, which I don't have. So, but that's for my mechanic to deal with, not me. So
yeah, someone else's issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
truck worked out really well. The debris loader, I found that loading it on the side was a lot easier for us than loading it on the back, because with the back, I had my enclosed trailer set up. I was able to just use a 2x12, place it on the sidewall where it kind of holds it there, and I can move it and just clip it. And then I was able to just drive along the side of the road and just pick up all the piles, kind of like what I posted on my Instagram. So.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking that, like for us, we have it on the back or on the front because like we drive from house to house. But I guess if you're doing condo associations, you're not leaving that property, so you can literally. Because that's what I was trying to figure out how you were doing it, and if you were taking it off like every time you went from one place to the next, but you're just driving around in that little association and you're not leaving, so you're able to do that.
Plus, it's only an 11. Since it's such a smaller engine, the 11 horsepower, it's not that heavy. So 2 guys can easily move it. But last year I was solo for the fall time. And so what I did was I used either an engine hoist, or I used my tractor to lift it up into the truck. And then what I did was I placed the 2x12 like on the brackets that it hangs on, and I would just pull it off because my floors are metal, so it slides. And I would pull it off until it fell into place, and then just kind of put it all together. So I don't think I have a video of me kind of how I did the setup. It worked well for what I did. I'll probably be posting that in the fall time, kind of show how I did that. But it was a quick setup because I was thinking about doing like a custom bracket on the backside, but honestly the side one worked out really well because then we shoot it from the back. So I always teach my guys, load from the back of the truck to the front, because if you load from the front to the back, not only can you not use the side door anymore, but depending on how long that stuff sits in there, when you go to dump it, most of it gets stuck up top if it's old. So then you have to go up there and, rake it all out. So I always tell them, train them, start from the back and then move to the front. That way, when you go to dump, it all slides out easily. So
Nice.
Sounds like a good setup to me.
Yeah,
And that's why I need
working
one.
great for us.
yeah, sounds
they're
like a
great.
great lawn maintenance setup. Those Isuzus, right? Like it has everything
Yes.
you need.
Yeah, if you're going to be towing heavy duty stuff like skids and stuff, then definitely don't buy one. I mean, mine's only a 4-cylinder diesel. And if you're just putting around town like what I'm doing, it'd probably be okay. But that's the
Okay.
only downside about them is that if you're actually wanting to tow some stuff, unless you get a bigger engine, they're not
Right.
going to do that well. So,
Okay. So okay. So mowers is basically how
Mowers
many
and
walkers
maintenance.
can you fit on that thing? Probably all of them if you want.
in the trailer,
Yeah.
I have 3 walkers currently right now in the trailer.
Okay.
And the way that we do it is we just fold up all the decks. And so I place 2 of them deck to deck, and then actually I place one in there and then flip one to the side, and then I just pull the other one in.
Oh, nice.
So
that's not bad.
So it's funny, I was gonna post a video about that. I started recording it where I started loading the mowers up to show how we can do it. And when I was on the B, when I started backing up into it, the weight of the deck caused the back end to lift up. And so I have a
Yeah.
video of my guy coming to save me to like push up on the deck because I was about to go forward.
Tip over.
Because typically I usually go forward and then just flip in the trailer, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh well.
Yeah.
So
That's hilarious. No, we love those Walker Bees. That's probably my favorite mower right now. We have a little like an MB18. It's a 42-inch deck, and it can get into a lot of backyards, and it's our like main residential little mower. So it's such a wicked little mower. Yeah, man.
they are good. The B23i is my favorite. It's small, it's lightweight. It's my favorite one, and I think that one's about to hit 1,500 hours on it. So that's our kind of our main workhorse right now.
Wow.
So
see, that's a nice machine. Yeah, I think if I had to get another one, I'd go with probably that one with a 48-inch mulching deck, or maybe a 27i with a 52-inch mulching deck. I haven't decided, but
yep. I love the B23, and I would buy another one. The only reason why I wouldn't is because the engines they offer on them are not EFI; they're carbureted. So the one that I have was a EFI engine, but the newer ones are carbureted. So that's the one thing I don't like. And I have the B27. It's been a good mower. It's a little bigger and it's a little heavier. And I know that Walker did come out with a new, I don't know if it's the C model or it's a T, or I forgot the model number, but it's equivalent to a bagging. It's like a mixture of a T and a C. So apparently the newer model has the hydros of a B in the power and the speed, but it's got the bagging system and stuff on it. So I forgot which model it was. I haven't followed that one.
Okay. Yeah. I know. Interesting. Cool, man. Cool. Do you have any, what's your future plans for Ambro's Landscaping or for yourself?
My goal back when I was a kid was to really grow my lawn care company. I wanted to have 3 crews running, but holy crap, is that a headache. And so I don't like overstretching myself, and I really enjoy, I had to take about a 2-year break from social media. So that's why on my YouTube channel, I didn't post anything for a while. It was becoming too much. A couple of years ago, we had our house up for sale. We were about ready to move out of Washington. I was going to shut down the company and then kind of do a different career. And so I kind of took a little bit of break, and we decided to stay here. And I kind of got my passion back into lawn care. Mostly, it's just been so difficult around here finding good help. Living in a retirement community where the average age is like 60 years old, really hard to find people.
Right.
And when COVID happened, all the rentals that were here and available, they all put them up for sale because the market was so stinking hot. Like houses were selling for $320 a square foot here, which is just insane. And so because all the rentals went up for sale, there's no place for young people to live. And all the places that are available are booked out 3 to 5 years. So it's really hard to find good work around here, and because they have no place to live. Um, so my goal is to I got two good guys working for me, and I'm very thankful for them. So my goal is to just kind of maintain where it's at now, but more focused on social media. Um, so that's why I'm finally trying to get my shop up where I can start getting some more content and recording. I'm so strict and particular with what I post. And I have so many videos that I've recorded, but it just didn't meet my quality standards, so I just never post them. And so, yeah, so finally being able to have my shop set up where it makes recording easier is hopefully that's my goal. So I'm trying to focus more on social media, a little bit less of a headache, and so kind of maintain the company where it's at now, and then kind of focus more on social media as my goal.
Nice. That's awesome. Do you edit all of your stuff? Do you do all your, the back end editing on your videos and everything? Is that you doing it?
Oh yeah, that's all me. Yeah, I'm really into the camera stuff. Like I geek out with that crap. So
I can definitely tell, which is cool.
Yeah. It wasn't so a few years ago I used to record everything. It was not Premiere Pro. It was Premiere. It was like a cheaper version of it. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. So I used to kind of do everything on that. It was just simple, basic editing. And then I watched this one YouTube video of some filmmaker where he did this really cool transition, and it kind of just grabbed my attention. I was like, that crap's cool. I want to do that. And I kind of noticed that in the lawn care realm, not a lot of guys do that kind of stuff. So I started kind of getting more into it and geeking out with it, and just saw that there's this whole new world of camera editing, camera equipment that I was like, holy crap, this is cool. So I don't have any hobbies. My hobby is camera stuff. So that's why I spend so much time and put a lot of effort into my videos, because it's something I enjoy doing that I love. And I mean, I probably have well over $40,000 of camera equipment invested in terms of lens, bodies, motorized sliders, jibs, lighting, a lot. And so since my wife does it as well, she kind of funds my hobby too with her social media, because I help her get all of her stuff set up. So she wants her stuff to look really high quality. So that's why she always asks me to do it. And in those 2 years, I took a break from my lawn care YouTube channel. I was kind of helping her out with her stuff, because her channel really took off during COVID. So she does more home tour and decorating stuff. And so, since we were all stuck at home, a lot of people wanted to watch videos. And so her channel just really took off. So that's where a lot of my time and effort went into. But yeah, so I strictly edit on Premiere Pro. Has been my main editing software for the past probably 6-7 years. I've been learning a little bit more Photoshop. After Effects is what I'm starting to learn now. Of course, it's a lot to learn, the whole program and all the shortcuts. But a lot of my Instagram videos, I just edit right on Instagram because it's just so simple. So
yeah, I know they've really upped their game, Instagram, of what you can do for editing wise on there. It's like, well, why would I put it all into Final Cut or Premiere Pro and I can just kind of do it on the app? That's what I've noticed, at least.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're recording. So like simple videos like what I've been posting on Instagram, I'll just do it right off my phone, edit right in Instagram. But when I do my YouTube videos, that's all with my higher end camera equipment. Like I got a couple videos that are going to be coming out soon, because I'm finally working with companies again. I have contracts, so I got to fulfill them. So you'll be seeing some stuff. And like once I'm done with my shop, I'll be posting that video of the final dream shop makeover. And of course, it's just taking a long time because our season's starting. So I have to juggle getting my work done with my clients as well as getting the projects done around the house. So, so all stuff posted on YouTube. Like I said, I'm very particular and strict with what I post. So anything posted on YouTube is strictly higher end camera stuff with Premiere Pro editing. But anything on Instagram is just short, quick clips that I record right off my phone. So
nice, right? What's your wife's channel?
Living at Country.
Living at Country. Okay, I know some people want to check that out. So
gotcha. Yeah, Living It Country IT.
Oh, Living It Country. Awesome.
Yes. It was originally called Building It Country, and she had started the channel when we were building our house back in 2017, 2018. So it was kind of recording the process of us building it. but she was so new to it, and kind of so was I. And I was doing all the general contracting for the house as well as doing all the siding and painting and stuff. So I didn't really have time to record it. So she kind of did that, but then she started getting more. Her channel shifted from that to doing more home tours and kind of DIY decorating and stuff like that. And so that's why she changed it from building it country to living it country. And now we're kind of going back to the building stuff because, like I said, we're building a tiny home right now and a party barn. So that's what we're recording and doing that stuff there.
Nice. Oh, that'll be awesome seeing those all come together.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of, I know. Yeah.
We'll get it done.
Oh, that's good. Cool, man. Well, do you have any advice for maybe a young, inspiring creator or, someone who's just starting their lawn care business?
Yeah. Really is just figuring out kind of what you want to do. I always live by the philosophy of turn over every rock, meaning, check out every opportunity that comes your way. I had no intentions of getting into lawn care, and my buddy came up with the idea, and now here I am 15 years later with a lawn care company. I had no intention of starting a YouTube channel, and here's my wife, she makes it, and I make one video, and here I am, I don't know, 9, 10 years later with, creating content. So really it's just kind of figuring out what you want to do and then get started. And the problem with me, with my social media over the years is I haven't been consistent. I'll kind of start on it and then I get kind of burnt out. So just finding a way that you can enjoy it where you can try to keep that consistency because that's where you grow. Another thing is collaborating with guys. I know a lot of guys on social media and trying to, asking them and kind of doing collaborations and sharing content is another great thing of starting with that. But in terms of social media, it's just creating content that people actually want to watch. I don't like creating content that adds no value to something. So that's why I like doing product reviews or a lot of guys, I have a series called Riding Shotgun is what I did. It's kind of like, it was a different way of a spin on a day in the life. And it was just kind of how I operate my stuff. And a lot of people like them. I don't like it because I feel like it's so repetitive where it's the same thing over and over again because it's the same accounts, it's the same mowing. So that's why I try to not do that. I love doing product reviews because then I can get those really cool shots that I enjoy doing. But yeah, I mean, if you're starting in the lawn care stuff, it's like I said, just take on what you can and kind of have an idea of where you want to go and what you want to do. But just know most likely that's going to change. You're going to have another opportunity that comes that you just never know where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
So it's funny, the way that I got my 2 first accounts that I ever maintained was at the time, I wasn't full-time in lawn care and I was working for my wife's uncle doing roofing. So we're up on the roof and we get down to take a break and I'm talking to the clients and they're like, oh, what else do you guys do? And I said, oh, I own a lawn care company on the side. She's like, oh, really? Our condo's looking for a new landscaper because they weren't happy with the guy. I'm like, okay, I'll go talk to them. So I talked to them, put in a bid, and 13 years later, I'm still maintaining that same account. And that account went from another account to another account. And every account that I have has all been word of mouth. I don't do any advertising besides my social media. That really helped out a lot. And every call I get for install residential, I just pass it off to a buddy of mine. And he's got 5 guys working for him doing installs and crazy stuff. But yeah, hopefully that was probably a longer answer than what you were thinking, but hopefully that helps.
That was perfect. No, that was perfect. Yeah. No, I know you have something in your head. Like that was me. I wanted, 3 crews of guys mowing all day. And, the reality is sometimes that's just not the way it goes. So you just got to kind of go with the flow and the journey's half the fun, right? So.
Yeah. And like I said, I had no intentions I never really cared for camera equipment and I kind of dabbed in that a little bit. And here I am with freaking tons of cameras and lenses and all this stuff. And
right.
That's probably the most questions I get from social media is guys wanting to get into content creation, asking me, what kind of camera do you use? How do you do this? How do you do that? And of course I geek out with that stuff. So it's like, you can talk to me about it all you want. But like, are you guys going to be at Equip this year?
We 100% are.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going too. But nice. Yeah, because I'll walk around with my my camera setup, and of course it's a gimbal with a camera lens and external monitor. So it's this insane setup, and so I always get tons of guys
Right.
asking me about that. So that'll be fun. Now, what do you guys still call it, GIE, or have you now switched over to Equip?
Well, we never went to GIE. Our first year was kind of last year, so we never really got on the GIE train. But I've heard so many people say GIE, you know, and
Gotcha.
it's called Equip now.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of miss the GIE, but whatever.
Okay.
That's where we're at now. I'm not used to Equip, but
I know.
yeah, I'll be going.
It's good.
I'll be going this year, and I think last year
Unreal.
was my third time I've gone, but I'm excited to go this year. So
Oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
it's a
We'll
good,
have
it's a
to.
do you
good time
guys-
for sure.
when you guys go, do you guys where do you guys stay? Do you guys just get a hotel room?
Yeah, we stayed at the Marriott downtown last year.
Okay.
To be honest, we didn't know what to expect. We just kind of came in
Yeah.
guns a-blazing, and it was a little overwhelming for the small town Canadian boys, but we made it through the weekend.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So,
Yeah, no, it was definitely quite an experience, right? Just that many people. Like, I'm pretty sure there's more people there than in like the city I'm from by a long shot.
definitely
yeah.
was.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, it was. But like I said, it was one of those things that once you go once, like I finally get why people go every year. Just and like going to see the mowers and all that other stuff was awesome, but just getting to network with so many people was like
Yeah.
well worth the trip alone. So I'll be a
Yeah.
regular
It's,
attendee going forward.
It's definitely a different experience for a content creator, because not only are you there to look at the equipment that you want to see, you're there meeting guys whose content you watch and support, and people that you know, so you get to hang out with them. And then if you're working with companies, you're interacting, you're meeting these people for the first time, because usually it's over the phone
Yeah.
call or email. And then if you're working with the companies, again, you're there, you know, like I said, doing content for them as well, and getting to see their stuff. Or, you know, there's a lot of these other bigger guys that they do their little, I wouldn't say little, sorry. They do their get-togethers, which are really cool.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of has their
Yeah.
own things, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we go, every time I've gone, I stay with other content creators, and so we rent a big Airbnb and we just all crash in the house together. So that's been fun.
That's a good time. Yeah.
So last year it was supposed to be, there was going to be me and 3 other guys, and we were all going to bring our wives. And so it was going to be all 8 of us staying in this big house, and it was going to be the first time for the wives to go. And one of the guys had to cancel, and his wife. And then another one had to cancel. So then my wife decided, well, I'll just stay home anyways. So there was 4 of us in a house for, I think, 8 or 9 people. It was pretty crazy. But
Nice.
it's just so fun, because you fly out there. Like I said, one of my good friends, Richie Plemons Lawn Care. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him.
Okay.
Yep. You made some Ferris videos for him, didn't you?
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, all the Ferris.
Oh, the
Yeah, it
Ferris
was-
stuff. Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah,
I knew he was in on that. I knew it.
Yep.
Freaking knew it.
That was fun, because I showed up because I wanted to get some shots. You know, Richie, he wanted to get some better thumbnails and some better screenshots, and I was like, dude, I'll help you out and get you that stuff. So we showed up, and we did, you know, normal recording. It's fine, but it was the next day, or I think it was the last day, second to last day is when it rained. So
Yeah, Thursday.
Ferris was like one of the only booths that lets you use their mowers in the mud. Everywhere else, like Toro, Hustler, they wouldn't let us use the mowers, because they're like, oh, it's wet. I'm like, you know, we mow in this type of stuff, so what's the problem? So, so what happened was, the second day I was at the Briggs and Stratton Ferris meetup at one of the bars downtown, and so they were showing us videos of them drifting around town or drifting around the little courses, and we're like, dude, that's really cool. And so I had showed some content of some of the recording I got earlier that day. And the dealer was like, dude, show up tomorrow morning and let's get some recording done. And I'm like, okay. So me and Richie Plemons, we showed up first thing in the morning before it even opened. And we went out and got some recording done and just had so much fun. So yeah, that was us. So Richie and I were putting a video together, and like I said, Ferris was the only one to let us actually use their mowers, or one of the only ones to let us use their mowers. But like, there's a couple other companies that, like Hustler, wouldn't even let us demo anything, and it wasn't even that bad. So that was kind of disappointing. But yeah, so that was us that did some cool recording for that. So
because that video kept popping up in my For You page and all that, and like I'm thinking this is too high a quality for some regular, I don't know, content creator, someone who
regular Joe on an iPhone.
Yeah, I'm like, someone knows what they're doing, and it turns out to be you. And I went to the Ferris factory like a month ago, right? They took me on a tour and all that. We're going to be running a Ferris this year and doing some work for them. So I started. Chad is their marketing head there, and all he could talk about was the mud video and how well that did for Ferris. So that's pretty cool.
Really?
Now we're connecting about it. Yeah, he said that mud video was better than the whole show was for us. Just that video. So
that's awesome, dude.
There you go.
I know. I know that. Well, like I said, because we talked to so many other people that are like, yeah, they wouldn't let us run the mowers because it was wet outside. We're like, yeah, Ferris literally said, do whatever you guys want. Yeah, and it was fun.
Encouraged it.
And so I think we all know where everyone's going next year, because that was fun. And so we're looking forward to that. Yeah. Yeah. We got those mowers caked in mud.
Yeah.
And the reason why they got so covered in mud is, for me recording it, I have to get as much shots as possible. So the only thing that sucked about that whole thing was I had my camera on a gimbal, and I had to run through the mud trying to get the shots. And so I was kind of slipping everywhere. And the guys, when they were spraying up the mud, my camera kept getting covered in mud. So it was pretty fun, but we had a good time. It was worth it. So
it was so worth it. That's cool.
Yeah. But no, I'm excited this year. We already have everything booked, and like I said, we're staying with it was gonna be 4 of us, then we had a 5th one. You guys probably know Mitchell from Mitchco. Is it Mitchco?
Yeah, Mythco.
So yeah, he's gonna be staying with us, and we have a good time. Like I said, it's fun because a lot of us are typically working with the same companies, and we're all going to the same locations. So we all just hop in the truck, we all go to GIE, hang out there, and then we'll either go downtown or go to whatever meetups are available, and then we go back to the house and we all hang out and just talk and shoot the breeze and wake up the next morning and do it again. So
that's awesome. Yeah, we I guess we hung out kind of just the two of us, Martin, and the fellas, but
a few of the boys from Ontario, and
we hung out the Ontario boys.
Yeah, next year we'll do it. Awesome. I keep saying next year, but it's like it's not even that far away now. It's only 5 months,
which is wild.
Something like that.
It's gonna go by fast.
Yeah, like once the busy season starts, and it just boom, 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 and then we're on a plane going again.
Yep, I know.
Yep.
We'll have to get together, the 3 of us, when we're down there for a beer too. That would be great.
Oh, nice. Heck yeah!
Unreal.
Yep,
Let's
we'll have
do
to catch up.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for coming on, Jason. We really appreciate it. The listeners love to hear from you, so thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure.
If you want to tell them where they can find you at, I'm assuming most people that are going to listen to this probably already follow you, but just in case, maybe throw it out there so they can follow your YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. And
so my main thing that I post on is Instagram, just because I've seen a lot more views and a lot more interactions there, and plus it's easier to create content. So Instagram is my main one. Ambro's Landscaping Inc. Our YouTube channel will be posting finally this year. I see that every year, but this year I kind of have to because I'm under contract. So we don't have a choice. Of course, that one's Ambro's Landscaping. And then TikTok is kind of another one of those things. If you want to follow us there, we don't post too much there. Typically, whatever we post on Instagram, we're posting on TikTok. And again, Ambro's Landscaping for that one.
Nice. Awesome. Beautiful.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for listening. We really appreciate it. Rate, and subscribe to the pod so we can keep doing this. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
We want to thank you for listening to the Crooked Stripes podcast. If you liked this episode of the pod, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Head over to Instagram and follow @the Crooked Stripes. From there, stay up to date on all things lawn, landscaping, and snow removal. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode of the Crooked Stripes. Thanks again for listening.